All right, hey everybody, welcome to the long-awaited, probably been like close to 6 months since we got on these airwaves podcast for the NFL GMs League. This is your host, the Vikings. I'm joined one as my almost usual co-host at this point, outside of the Chargers, with Chris, who usually this time of night I'm trying to rope into a three-way after he's been drinking a little bit. Chris, how we doing?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. And of course, I mean, a three-way trade, I would never, besmirch the league by trying to do shady dealings like that.
Never.
Anyways, we've got a lot of content and we've got a lot of quarantine going on right now, so we figure we'll keep this short and sweet and just talk about some of the new teams in the league, kind of state of the team, some of the trades they've made thus far, what we think is coming. So, again, like we said, a lot of content, a lot of stuff to cover. So we'll be doing this on some regular basis because, hey, we're all bored. So if you're interested in joining some of these, talk about your team, stuff like that, let us know and we'll get you on. But otherwise, we'll just kind of dive right in. Chris, anything else you want to touch on before we get going?
Not yet. We got plenty of stuff to go through. I think we've got 9 new owners that have joined since the last time we did a cast, at the very least. So we'll focus on them today. We'll see how far we get tonight.
Yeah, we're just about. I think Panthers may have joined when we did some of the post-deadline
yes,
stuff
yep.
like that. But in terms of first season in the league, as Chris mentioned, we've got 9 new owners. At least 9 new owners, we think. Ravens, Jags, Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Panthers, Cardinals, and Rams. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Let me know. I'm an amateur. What can I say? If you aren't new and I counted you as new, congratulations. You're all going to get flooded by bad offers. But hey, there might be one good one in there. That's the one thing you can count on with this stuff. Like I said, we'll go through each of these teams, kind of say state of the team right now, where we see they're going, and some of the trades they've made thus far. So starting at the top, we'll let Chris talk about one of his division mates, the Ravens. In terms of team, definitely I think has committed himself to something of a rebuild here. Got a couple expensive backs, broke down Nuke Hopkins to get McCole Hardman, and a couple other pieces. Tight end is wasteland, but really has built out the defense pretty well. So things are looking promising once you can add a couple of offensive pieces. Chris, what's your thought?
Well, it's an interesting team, an interesting spot they found themselves in when they picked up the team, because this was the team that had Luck on it. They had Brissett for the backup, so when Luck retired, they were able to drop them, the previous owner anyway. And the team did fairly decent in the division last year. But Browns has made a ton of moves in the offseason. I've made a few on there. And you could kind of see how Ravens started off thinking they'd compete with a couple moves and then quickly went ahead and just tore everything apart right after that.
Right. And as you're speaking, taking the opportunity to pull up the Ravens trade. So in terms of last year when the window reopened, picked up Travis Kelce for a couple of younger pieces. So like you said, looking to potentially compete immediately, but then shifted gears literally a day later, breaking down Milano for picks, taking on Demaryius Thomas for a pick, giving up on Brissett and Josh Jackson for Logan Ryan and picks.
Yep.
Then let's see.
Then they gave up Kelce a mere month after acquiring him.
So let's look at that. So he gave up Jerome Baker, Derwin James in the third
to
get him. And then Mac Wilson and 121 for him. So I don't hate that. I mean, Derwin James was, I think, mid to late first in this league. So used him for 2 years and then dumped him. So 2 more years on that rookie contract before he has to get paid. And then Jerome Baker and Mac Wilson could end up being a wash. You know? So
definitely.
I don't hate that. Picked up little Jordan Humphrey for a 5th. Impactful thing there, but then got that 5th back for shipping out Deion Kane. Yeah, it was McCole Hardman, Derek Wolfe, and the Jets 2nd for Nuke. We'll talk about that later, which was funny because he picks up Nuke Hopkins, and then I think ships out Mike Evans like a couple days later or days before or something like that. So it's like, hey, I've got an overpriced number one receiver. Let me pick up one up and ship one out. Good times. Let's see, Boykin and Quan Alexander and shipped out 121. Okay, so it's Boykin, Quan, 121 and a fourth for 117 and 306. So that's a really cheap Quan, if I remember correctly.
I believe the contract is
It's tough. Yeah, it's
very
like a
high on him.
contract. Yeah,
Yep.
14 million.
Yep.
So Buccaneers certainly have the cap space for it. Then I think that's a taxi theft of Easton Stick.
Yep.
Got 127 for Olivier Vernon and 2 seconds. And then Shelby Harris for Vernon Butler and a fourth. And I think that
Butler was
a transition.
tagged. Yep. And I know Bears needed a DT because he had just made a transaction prior to that where it brought him down to just one DT on his team. So that doesn't surprise me, him making that move with somebody.
In exchange of transition tagged players. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, the Kelsey addition and subtraction. So, definitely seems to be in rebuild mode for sure. Again, I will say that the IDP side is something I'm still growing on. But he's got some really interesting pieces here. If you look at his IDP, enough that if post draft Freeman or Hyde end up in some compelling places, this is maybe a team better than one that would need to tank. Like, I don't know. Like, if I look at the defense, and Zach Allen was a hopeful last year, but may not be much. Shelby Harris has a free run to start. Wolf, that Baltimore defense looks just nasty. Between Wilson and White, a decent linebacking core, a very strong corner set, and then the safeties are solid. Like, that's probably 100 to 120 point defense a week.
Yeah. Solid looking team, but I don't know, average.
It's going to score enough to not get a top pick next year, but I mean, the other fact of the matter is I think he has 117, 127, and other stuff that he could potentially use to add, but I can't imagine unless he flips those for players, something going to be massively impactful. But he does have $60 million in cap space still, so
to spend on what though? Like we've picked the wire clean already, unless he's going to be taking on bad cap for picks.
Well, I mean, that's when I started mine. I'll give Goose credit, my rebuild, since I haven't made the playoffs yet.
Okay, now I catch the shade.
Yep, a lot of it was taking on bad contracts and cutting them, and then getting draft capital from it. So it was like, okay, I'll take on the $16 million Kevin White contract and cut it, and then get half the value back, and then pick up maybe like a third or second in the process, and just use that to build up some draft capital to the point where I might have had I think it was like a $70 million cap hit 2 years ago at rollover. But hey, it got me where I'm at right now. So different strokes for different folks.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, defense is looking solid. Offense needs some work. We'll see what the picks lead to. But this is one of those teams that I don't see a path to contention. But the defense, like I said, is in good shape. I'm just gonna say that 3-4 more times. What do you think?
Yeah, the 2 first-round picks he has are going to be kind of critical on what direction this team takes, and it's a little unfortunate for him being in the division he's in, because I feel like being paired up against the current Browns team and my current Bengals team is putting him at a disadvantage in terms of making the playoffs this year.
No, exactly. So I think he's got the idea of continuing to build. So we'll see where that takes him. But I think that's a good start there for the Ravens. Let's jump down to the Jags. Um,
Right. Pull up his transactions here.
Yep. So I'll just look at the roster real fast. Has Carson Wentz, no running backs. James Washington and Darius Slayton at receiver. No tight ends. He's got his own kicker and punter. Justin Jones as his own D tackle. Joey Bosa at end. Unfortunately, Arden Key did not get the step up that everyone was hoping for when Khalil Mack left.
Yep.
Speaking of Khalil Mack, there he is in the linebacking core, as well as Schobert and Judon really anchoring things there. Let's see.
Can I just point out, while you're going through this list, he has 25 players on his active roster right now. Just 25
in space. Oh, and Sheldon Richardson, that's right. He's again on IR because he's holding out. So I caved immediately to Kevin King's holdout, but apparently Jags is holding strong and not willing to pay Sheldon Richardson his money.
He's got 25 players on his roster. He has a decent amount of picks. He's got the 115. He's got 4 seconds, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. Okay.
Yep, and I'm partially responsible for the 4 seconds. So I think he earned the 114, or the 115. I think he said. Looking at the deals, he gave up Aguilar for a third to you. Gave up N'Keal Harry for 3 seconds to me.
Okay. Yep.
Then has not made a trade since rollover. So those were his 2 deals. But like you said, he's got 115, and then I think mine is like 119. And then the Browns second and the Cardinals second. I think those are 2 playoff seconds. So those are the 2 later ones. So again, you see a lot of good players, especially, on the defensive side, and some of the longer developing positions like tight end leaving the second round could be good value for him there as he continues to build stuff out. Yeah, dead air because
I'm just looking at his linebackers. So he's got the 2 Ravens linebackers. They're both outside linebackers, I believe, and they just lost one of their key guys. I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but there's a decent chance one of them steps up. Oh, never mind. Matt Judon is staying there.
Yeah, he's got franchised.
Yep. So it's Bowser and a third guy. I can't remember the third guy's name. Trying to fight for that opposite side, but he had 5 sacks last year. Could be decent for his linebacking core. And again, defense looks fine. He just needs to fill a lot of holes on offense. He doesn't have a running back currently rostered. He does have Wentz for QB, so he's solid there. He's got Slayton on a great deal right now.
Yep. No, it's like, you ever watch A Good Place?
I haven't for a while. I watched the first 2 seasons, and then
you'll get the joke. It's it's just like the guy saying, we just need some offense, some defense, some special teams, and some rule changes to be competitive. He just needs some running backs, some tight ends for Sheldon Richardson to stop holding out, and some rule changes, and he's ready to go.
He's there.
So, but again, the offense has pieces in place. For sure. Whereas I think the Ravens have a little bit more work to do there. I think, the Jags at least have some starters in place there. So stuff to build around, although it's going to be tough with those picks to build in, the running back area for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's move to the AFC West for the Broncos.
Was Broncos a newer addition? Because I hadn't seen him type in chat until today.
Yeah, I think he just got added to chat this morning. So we've got Bill who just joined.
How far back do we go for trades then? Yeah, we'll take a look anyway. We'll just see what happens.
Worth looking at. But just a quick overview. Has the Carolina stack from last year, and of course only Will Grier still is on Carolina, so good times there. Has already started collecting bad contracts from the previous owner, so well on its way to use that rebuilding strategy. Hunter Henry is maybe going to break out this year, but tough contract. And the defense just isn't there. So, short version, this is a likely one-on-one. So, start acquiring. And Bill, when he joined, said he's looking forward to getting this roster back into shape. Bill, you're doing the Lord's work. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So the good news, I just opened up his screen on the trade page.
Mhm.
He has the 106 this year, 201, 206, 228, a third, she's 6/4, and then 3/5 on there. So he has a massive amount of rookies he's going to be able to bring on.
Yeah.
He's got his own pick for 2021. He's got the Jets 2021 first. So this would actually be a fun team. Like, it is a complete dumpster fire right now, but it'd be a fun team with that many picks to go ahead and just build from the ground up.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed, doing that with my team when it was a complete dumpster fire. Like, it's fun to do that in a league like this where there's,
Yep.
31 other owners to trade with to be able to do that kind of stuff. So, like you said, it's gonna be fun. Looking at what he could salvage from his team right now. If Cam Newton signs someplace, can you renegotiate that contract? No, you've been through the renegotiation window, so no, he's not going to be able to deal that contract.
Again, I don't think it matters because he's going to have the cap space. Like, the only thing he'll run out of is contract years, I believe.
Yeah, but the other side of it is if you're, playing to not win,
True. Yep.
having that could be tough. Pascal could end up being worth something. Hunter could bring him back something.
So that was the only trade that occurred since January, was the Pascal trade. He sent Malik Hooker and a 2020 306. But that was back in February 18th. So whichever owner sent that acquired Pascal. Yeah, if I were him, I would not trade my 2021 first for anything.
Right.
And I would dump any other producing player off this team. Get whatever they could for trades. Trade away Pascal for picks. Possibly Henry, unless he wants to hold Henry for the long term. One player's not going to hurt your odds too bad. And
Right.
I don't know. It looks fun.
Yeah, he's going to have a good time.
He's got Kyle Allen on a cheap 2-year contract. So if someone believes in him, he can either keep him or trade him off. Cam for $40 million, that's not going anywhere. Yeah, I think he's stuck with Cam.
Yep. All right, so
No,
moving along to the Raiders. Let's see. Has Drew Lock on a cheap contract? Carry on and an unexpected Washington stack without Geis. He's the annual recipient of the Larry Fitzgerald contract. That's where he goes for $17 million every year for some reason. Let's see.
What?
Oh God, that's right. The $16 million Darren Fells when the tight end run.
that when that moment happened in the auction, I knew I was going to have to trade for a tight end, because I am not paying $16 million for a guy that has a career total of, I think, just shy of 1,000 yards receiving in his entire career. Dude is
Incredible.
33 years old.
And gave him a 1-year deal. I love. That's again. I know too many movie quotes, but this is that scene in Gone in 60 Seconds where this is what happens when you have too many people with too much bloody money or something like that. Let's see, but then Daniel Hunter on a good contract there, as well as Darius Leonard on his rookie deal.
So
promising pieces. So,
he's made some moves, and I've been in a lot of negotiations with him this offseason. So his first move was giving up the 2020 round 4 pick for Geno Atkins. That was for me. That was when I was trying to clear cap space prior to the offseason really kicking in. So I'd have some on there. So that was him taking that on. Then he acquired the 513 for Josh Adams. He got a 2021 round 5 pick for a little Jordan Humphrey. Looks like he was stolen from on the tax squad, Isaiah Buggs. And then he acquired Auden Tate and Joe Jackson, who was a defensive end on Dallas, for Travion Williams, BJ Hill, and the 513 pick.
Yeah, so he flips the Josh Adams pick a month later. Again, nothing crazy there, but again, getting on Tate for that is pretty interesting. So
yeah, I love that move.
So he, of the teams we looked at so far, he's probably the closest to turning this into something. So I could see why you would spend $16 million on Darren Fells in that kind of situation, because you want to make sure you have that tight end. Where's he at pick wise?
1 second. I was just taking a look at his division, which I want to comment on in a moment. I'm in the wrong year. I'm back in 2019.
Well, that's not helpful.
All right, so he's got the 107, 207, 307, 321, and 507.
Okay.
He's got an early pick here.
So 107, he'll be able to add another offensive contributor if he wants him, or top end defensive talent.
I would assume with his team, I'd see one of the big wide receivers or running backs that early.
Yeah, I'm thinking he'll be okay with Locke on that contract, so he's not necessarily going quarterback, so he'll probably go running back or receiver there. So,
but if a QB falls that far, one of the top guys, I don't know, it's a good piece to own.
Yeah, but Chase Daniel, man.
Chase Daniel. That tilted me so bad to start the auction. My backup QB is being bid up.
Hey, I was trying to get me some Chase Daniel, but I think I only was lead bidder for about 15 seconds there.
I took him to 1.2, so somebody else bid him up to 1.5. Yeah, I was in a lot of talks this offseason trying to acquire Hunter from him. So I'd sent multiple offers over. He actually countered with one that made me think for a while. It would have been a lot of pieces for one player though in best ball. So we eventually parted without doing any deal there. I'm like, it's probably fair, but 2 solid pieces and a high pick for one guy is a lot.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the MO of most people in this league is some long thinking. I think I probably had about 4 or 5 different owners that I've worked with this offseason that sat on an offer for a while. I'm like, oh, I'm really struggling with this. I'm really thinking about this type of thing. So I did that as well myself. So advice to new owners, if you're not getting an immediate response, send a DM. Just, make sure they're paying attention to it. You're not going to see many people, just sit on an offer and let it expire. If they're sitting on it, they're thinking about it, or they didn't see it. So it doesn't hurt. No one's going to get offended.
So the other thing I wanted to point out is I believe that division is actually fairly weak. Obviously, we got Chargers in there, which is a top team. But I don't believe Broncos, like we said, that's full rebuild.
Yep.
I don't think.
So the Chiefs we haven't touched on yet, so we're going to talk about them in a second. So let's.
Oh yeah, never mind. They're a new owner. Oh, never mind. Okay, so yeah, we'll do a comparison between these two teams. See how they stack up.
Yep. So Chiefs are a new owner, we believe.
If not, apologies.
Yep. So again, we think it is because old Chiefs. We had to go back to. Never mind. Won't show you how the sausage is made here. But anyways, going through this, Deshaun Watson, a quarterback, pretty solid. Picked up the Todd Gurley contract, which is actually only $20 million now, so not too bad. AJ Brown, Mike Evans, pretty solid at receiver. Njoku is not what he was before. Yeah, I'm so used to seeing Njoku and thinking good things, but now that might be a little bit blocked once he gets traded. Let's see. Defense is good, but not great, except for maybe Tre'Davious is the only name that really jumps out at me. I mean, except for the best name in sports, Clinton Dix. Yeah, I mean, this is the inverse of the Ravens. Like, great looking offense. Defense is leaving a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the trades here.
So trades, first one of the year, picking up Gurley.
Giving up his 21 first for Gurley. Yep.
Which in this league, after he renegotiated him, I think that's a solid move.
Yeah, I think that's fair for both sides.
Yep.
And then 214 for AJ McCarron and 318.
That's questionable at
Well, I
best.
can understand wanting to control your backup quarterback.
I'm not giving up more than a fourth for my backup quarterback, if that.
Yeah.
So my backup QB can rot on Raiders team or whoever took him from me.
Let's see. And then Damian Williams and Marquise Brown for Mike Evans. So I bid at Michael Evans as well and did not get him. So it's interesting because it all comes down in that one to whether if Chiefs take it back, then that looks like a great deal for the Chiefs. If Chiefs don't take it back, then looks like a tough deal for the Chiefs. So we'll see. And then here's what I was confused about. Ebron in a second for Njoku in a third. So I'm giving a player who's looking like he's going to start for the Steelers and the higher draft pick for, and I think, yeah, Ebron's the better contract for a player who's not starting for his own team and the worst pick on the worst contract. So that was one I didn't quite get.
It's probably just the stigma around Ebron and Njoku. People still thinking Njoku's got all the upside and talent, even though he hasn't actually shown anything yet, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ebron has struggled with drops and underperforming for a long while, yet he should produce in the Steelers offense. What's interesting is Browns acquired him. He didn't do anything with that contract trade extender or anything. He left it at the 11.7, 1 year remaining. I know we're not talking about Browns here, but I remember him and I were in long discussions for him shipping me Njoku, even though I wanted Goddard instead, and we couldn't agree on anything. So he said he was going to go ship him elsewhere, and sure enough, he did. It took him a few months, but he pulled it off.
Yeah.
Now, the Chiefs, did we go through what picks they have currently?
I don't think we did.
They have the 114, 314, 318, 4th, and 5th rounders this year. Next year, they do not have a first or second, but they have 3 third rounders. So they have to load up. They got hit on their first round pick this year, offense or defense, and then they need to improve their defense somehow if they want to compete this year and next.
Well, like you said, this looks like a division where he could definitely pick up some wins.
Yep.
So I'll let you start with the breakdown and I'll jump in.
Let me move monitors here. I'm going to split his team open with.
Are you doing multiple monitors? You're cheating.
I am. And I'm doing side by side here. Let's see what we got. So Chiefs versus Raiders. If we're looking for them to pick up wins or, come up just behind Chargers, they're still odds-on favorite to win that division right now. We got Drew Lock versus Deshaun Watson. So Watson's going to take that easily towards the Chiefs' favor. Then for running backs, we got Kerryon Johnson and Latavius Murray, Adrian Peterson, and Darwin Thompson against what is essentially Todd Gurley on the other side. So, would you rather just have Todd Gurley or a combination of Latavius Murray, Kerryon, and AP? I would go with the combination of those three any day, I believe. So
I'm taking a slightly different approach to the conversation here. So,
all right.
Let's see. Chargers made the playoffs.
Yep.
Chiefs, I think, were second in the division. Were they third last year?
Oh, I don't remember.
We'll pull that up.
That's a good thing I got so many monitors.
They finished second. So they were 8-8 last year, finished second in the division. So if I look at the Raiders and Broncos, let's just call that 3 wins for the Chiefs. He's got the Jets, the Texans, the Browns as second place in the other divisions in the AFC, and then whatever division the West goes up against. I think so. I know the NFC West is against the NFC East this year, so I don't know if that says anything.
See, I'm still not convinced his team's better than the Raiders. Now that I've got them side by side here.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Is we look at the players on offense and we kind of get bamboozled there. I think if we look at the schedule and that defense, this team, I don't know if they get to 8 wins.
Yeah, that defense is going to let them down. Well,
I mean, look at the offense. He's got Deshaun Watson, so that's probably going to be close to 28, 30 points a game. The offense is probably going to get him probably 120, 130 on a weekly basis. So if he can get 50 from the defense, that'll pick up some wins for him.
His issue is especially on the defensive end side.
Yeah, I think people are pick crazy right now. He could probably shop that. If I'm him, I'm probably thinking about shopping that 117 and saying, what's the best defensive player I can get for this? Like,
Yeah, the linebackers are rough too. His top scoring linebacker, David Mayo, they just acquired your linebacker, whatever his name is. Can't think of it at the moment. The real life Giants acquired linebacker. That's going to take a lot of his David Mayo's snaps away.
Oh, Martinez.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's.
So yeah, Broncos and Broncos are going to bottom out. Raiders and Chiefs, I think the Raiders will probably jump the Chiefs, even though they're equal teams, because the Raiders as a third place schedule get the Pats, the Jags, the Steelers, and then whoever they match up against and stuff like that as well. So I think that's probably an easier path than what second place team has, but neither here nor there. Jumping to the NFC, our friends, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Bucks.
Let's see.
If a team ever needed no ownership, this is the one.
Definitely. But then making some of the same mistakes of the past, but we can get to that in a second. Solidified their QB position by getting Daniel Jones. Andy Dalton's still a bit up in the air, so a $30 million price tag's tough on him, but if he starts, that could be nice to have 2 starting quarterbacks. Jamal Williams looks like he's going to be a spell guy for the foreseeable future, as does Benny Snell, so that's rough. Receivers are rough. Johnny looks like he's emerging, so that could be a good piece to have. Billings is a good position on Cleveland. So
this
we joke, but this feels like an 8-8 team.
I don't think so. I'd be surprised if they get more than 6 wins.
So let me look at the Buccaneers real fast.
Okay, so just look at his defensive ends. He's got 2, and the top guy scored 9.2 points last year. It's a minimum start 2 defensive end for defense. So he's got no points there. He's got no points at linebacker. He's got no points at safety.
So Quan was on IR for the part of the year and was in serious action in the playoffs. So I'm going to go ahead and give him some benefit of that out there. Jatavis Brown, again, the 2018 versus 2019. So is due for a bounce back year at 62 tackles in 18. So again, I think he's going to get some better production out of those players and people got last year. Picked up Josh Jackson, who same kind of thing was injured last year. And Ahkello Witherspoon. That's going to come down to if the Niners replace him, then it's a wasted contract. But here's what I'm thinking here. He's got a quarterback. He doesn't have any running backs or receivers. He's got a tight end, and his defense is.
No matter how you spin it, his defense sucks, man. Sure, I'll give you Jatavis Brown, Quan Alexander. They'll be average. But
yeah, never mind. It's a 4-win team. I didn't realize he'd already traded his first round pick.
He's got his picks here.
Because he picked up a first in an earlier deal.
So his earliest pick is 223, 224, 231. He's got 2/3, 2/4, and a 5th. So he's waiting multiple picks till his first one.
All right, never mind. It's the top 10 pick.
Yeah. So whoever's got that, congrats to them.
It's the Bears. It's Goose.
Of course, it's Goose. Okay.
Open the league. I'm a commissioner. If you have any questions, ask me. Oh, by the way, ship me that first round pick.
Okay.
So it's an arbitrage move too, because he traded his first round pick, but not the Chiefs first. So he could have had 2 very solid first rounders next year.
There's a lot of discussion in chat around this too. It seemed like owners were split on whether you wait a year for that pick or you use it on the QB that you would probably use it on in 2021. And I get both sides. One, you're gonna have to pay your QB sooner, and your team's still gonna be crap by the time you're paying that QB top money. Although Daniel Jones was taken outside the top 10, so his contract won't be quite as bad as some others that jump up.
Yeah.
And then you also remove the uncertainty of that pick a year from now on whether you're going to hit or not with the QB if you think Dan Jones is going to be successful. I did not.
You put yourself in purgatory. So again, like you said, this has already been pretty well hashed out on.
Well,
on that.
I guess by taking Dan Jones, it doesn't matter if his team does better or not because he doesn't own his own pick. So at least he doesn't have to worry about that, right?
It's an interesting spin for it.
I'm just saying, if Dan Jones gets some more wins by trading away his pick, he doesn't care quite as much.
So
maybe he thought his pick's gonna be better than the Chiefs next year.
Here's the interesting thing, though. So you do that, and you trade your first away, hoping that you're able to compete. Then let's rewind here. In January, traded Tyler Higbee for Corey Coleman in a second.
Yep.
Traded Todd Gurley for the Kansas City first. Traded Kenny Stills for the Arizona third.
He house
Justin Simmons, and that's where he got 224 from. I like the Pascal trade. I think that's good for him. Then where did he lose that 117? No, the 121 went to Goose as part of that trade to get Daniel Jones.
So he gave up the 117 when he got Quan and Miles Boykin.
And then gave up 121 and his first and Marshawn Lattimore and Tajay Sharp for Daniel Jones.
Oh yeah, we covered this a little bit on the Raven. That Ravens trade, Miles Boykin, Quan Alexander, the 121 for the 117 and
306.
That
weekend to get Jamal Williams.
That trade on its own is a landslide in the Bucs' favor.
Yeah.
But then he went in, I don't know, scrolled away the picks at some other later point.
So that's the thing. Look, everyone's going to build their team differently, but you take Marshawn Lattimore, you flip him for a second or third to someone who really wants a lockdown corner, or a top corner type situation. You flip Jamal Williams when Aaron Jones misses a game. I don't know. I think he could have broken it down, gotten himself a nice bevy of 21 picks, and been getting Lawrence and stuff like that there. But I think he's going to, again, he's not going to win a ton of games, but he's going to win enough to probably move himself out of the top 5.
Out of the top 5 for what? What year?
21.
But he doesn't own his 21 pick, is what I'm saying. Right? So he doesn't care.
And we'll see.
He doesn't care where his team finishes. He doesn't have his first. The only team he cares about is the Chiefs, and he hopes they bomb.
I don't think he's going to the Chiefs, though. Anyways.
Yep. Interesting. It needs some work. Wouldn't be my favorite situation, just with the combination of what we've discussed already. Moving players, 4 picks, and then going around and sending those picks for one player.
Yeah, it's tough to rebuild when you don't own your own first. It's not a fun situation. So let's move over to the Panthers. So Panthers took over end of last year and has not made a single trade. So of the new owners, I think he's probably the longest tenured. So come on, Ryan, wake up and let's get on that. Let's see. Darnold, quarterback, Mixon and Gordon at running back for a very expensive amount. Cup and Boyd at receiver. The incomparable Jimmy Graham, who of course got the no move clause from Chicago, very important. Solid D tackles.
How did Jimmy Graham go for $6 million in that auction? Meanwhile, Darren Fells went for 16.
I don't know.
What madness is this?
Welcome to GMs. Max Crosby, Nassib, and Winovich. Probably need to know one, but I like those DNs. Solid linebackers. It's a pretty good team.
Well, the previous owner,
yeah, he was just looking in on playoffs last year.
Knew what he was doing. It's just he didn't like how a certain scenario unfolded, and like I said, he took his ball and went home. But
that was the whole
that was the
thing last year. But
yeah.
I won't watch that.
Yeah. It was that and the collusion within his division that he had. Yeah. Anyway, it's a very solid team.
But yeah, like you said, borderline playoff team last year, and no moves been made. So obviously, I'm looking pretty solid for this year. So
he's got no picks for 2020. Doesn't surprise me. He's got his first and second for 2021. But yeah, solid team. I can see why he'd just sit tight, see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Moving to the Cardinals.
That's easy.
Yeah. As many moves, good team. No content. We don't have anything to talk about.
I'm sure we could find something. Here, let me find something.
All right. Let me look at the card. I'll queue up the Cardinals then while you're doing that.
He's paying $22.9 million for Bobby Wagner. There. That's the only thing I could find. It's a lot of freaking money for a linebacker.
Cool.
All right. Now we're moving on. Okay.
Hold on. See, that's why the professional here. Cards. So Ted taking over. Jimmy on that ridiculous deal at quarterback. Most expensive running back is, of course, the incomparable Jeff Wilson. Newest Houston Texan Brandon Cooks at receiver with Edelman and Marquise Goodwin. Owner is definitely a bit of a Niners homer, but I'm all for that. Jack Doyle, solid tight end. Chris Jones. Hopefully he plays a few more games this year for Kansas City. Could be solid there.
Mm-hmm.
Good DNs. If New England keeps Hightower, that's a pretty good set at linebacker. Corner. And again, these guys, I think, were a playoff team last year, so not shocking. That's still looking playoff-like. Flip to Marcus Lawrence for Justin Houston. I don't understand that. I know Lawrence had a down year last year, only I think 5 sacks or something like that, and Houston I think did much better. Yeah, 9 sacks. So I get the numbers bearing out to that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just the last one on the DeMarcus Lawrence bunts, so I'll turn off the lights. But I prefer Lawrence there.
No, Goose was pretty happy with that deal in my conversations with him. He is convinced Lawrence is going to have a bounce back and go back to being a beast. For some reason, I must innately dislike the Cowboys because I never liked Des Bryant. We'll take it all the way back there. Never a fan of Des Bryant. Never a fan of DeMarcus Lawrence. I know he was injured. I know he had surgery. He did get his big contract, got paid same time the injury happened and surgery. But I feel like I don't know, gets paid and then checks out. Likely I'm wrong. He's probably going to be great, and then Goose will have another solid defensive end. But I just don't like Cowboys.
Everyone's got all their convictions. Let's see, and then 429 for Cleveland's fourth to the Buccaneers, and then that. So not a ton of trades, but that's kind of the only big one. So still playoff contending team. We'll see if they do anything else to kind of shake things up. But really need a running back.
Yeah. Yep. So for their picks, they've got the 129 and then 3/5 this year, and that is it. So
it's I get for the 129.
Unlikely they find the solution to the running back needs in the draft, unless you can scoop out that running back that late and hit on it. Unlikely.
Well,
no.
Let me think about that real fast. So
the one that you put in like terms of a normal league, you're picking in the third round. How many picks do you get in a traditional league size in the third round that's going to end up being a running back that can support your team?
So let me think about this for a second. Hypothetically, if I were to say offer 129 and you know what, I can't think of anything that kind of say 129 and a future second to the Chiefs for Todd Gurley at this point, since they're now thinking maybe we tank.
Well, the Chiefs don't have their own first. They can't tank.
Yeah, they have that. Sorry, I forgot that. I forgot who had sent their first to Buccaneers. So never mind.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe there's a deal like that. A team that started competing like the Ravens. Let's pick up a couple more competing pieces and help them tank and help me kind of stay in the playoffs. That may be where you can pick up a running back. But anyways. Last but not least, we've got the Rams.
He's got,
Hall of Famer PJ Walker making $4.8 million a year more than Jared Goff.
As it should be.
Yep. Philip Lindsay, unfortunately, getting Wally pipped by Melvin Gordon, even though Lindsay has made it clear he's not going to give up that job without a fight. Adams and Crowder at receiver. Looks like maybe multiple starters at tight end with Sprinkle and Griffin. Whether or not.
What a dominant tight end core. When you're throwing out Griffin, Sprinkle, and Thomas.
Yeah. Defense, once you got Hayward. You got the corners. You got Vince Williams.
Man.
You got Minka. It kind of alternates on you. Except for the safeties kind of going off of out of order there. I like the quarterbacks. Well, I like Goff. I think he's undervalued.
Yep.
Don't like the running backs. I like the receivers. Not enough of them, but I like them. Don't like the tight ends.
Yep.
I'm indifferent on, the kickers and punters. I'll call those alike so that we keep the pattern going. Think the tight end, the D tackles are not great. I think the D ends could be solid. I think the linebackers leave plenty to be desired. The corners look good and the safeties look good. So count those together, and it's kind of a nice little alternating team.
Yeah, and for his picks, he's got the 110 and then second, third, fourth, fifth, couple extra fourths thrown in there. So 110 is not a bad pick.
No. And again, that wouldn't shock me, again, if that's either a quarterback or someone like Simmons.
Yeah.
Which, if he lines up at linebacker in this league, could change my perception of that linebacking core. But let's see. In terms of trades, he has given up Hall of Famer Steven Nelson to the Bears for Cleveland's fourth this year. So not much major. All right. Well, I think some takeaways here are our new guys are not making nearly enough trades, except for maybe a couple of them. So boys, get on that. We'll give you an opportunity to redeem yourself, and we'll talk about you if you're good in future podcasts. Otherwise, that's kind of what we have on the docket here. What do you think? Anything else, Chris?
I think that wraps it up for our first night. But we've
Yeah.
got plenty of content to go through, and I cannot wait to talk about my team. So we'll leave that for another cast.
Indeed. All right. Well, be good. Stay out of trouble. Stay socially distanced and stuff like that. But we'll talk again soon. And everyone, be well.
All right. Thanks, Mike.